So great to see many of you joining us from different locations. So thank you again for joining. Let's just go ahead and get started here. Hello again, everybody. My name is Liz. I'm the Customer Engagement Coordinator here at Wodify. Very excited to have members of the Wodify team here with us today to share with you all how you can increase your profitability while continuing to provide a seamless payment experience and save thousands of dollars each year by implementing our feature to pass on processing fees. We also specifically chose to do a webinar on this feature because while it is relatively straightforward in functionality, how you go about implementing it is critical to your success. So we're going to share with you some customer stories and pre-built resources to give you exactly what you need to roll this out for your business. But let me go ahead and introduce you to the awesome team that you'll be hearing from today. So first we have Brendan Rice, Wodify's CEO. We also have Tian, the product manager for passing on processing fees. Keri is our onboarding team lead who works with customers every single day on best practices. And then we also have Tori from account management and Sydney from customer success joining us. So they'll be here if you have any account or support related questions. And that is a great way to segue into some Zoom tips. So a few things to note before we get started. If you look on the bottom of your screen, I know you just experimented with the chat there. So you'll see chat, Q&A, and reactions. So for chat, just feel free to use that as a space to interact with both us and the other owners on the webinar today. For Q&A, please submit questions in there throughout the webinar for our team to answer toward the end. And for reactions, as pictured here, if you navigate to the reactions tab and click raise hand, that'll let us know when you have a question or comment, and we can actually unmute you and you can talk to us live. So if you've been on one of our webinars before, you know that we love hearing your voices. So please don't be shy. Feel free to chime in if you have any questions. Alrighty, so let's hop into the agenda for today. So the goal of today's session is to give you all a behind the scenes look at passing on processing fees through the lens of those who created and designed it. So we're going to cover our design process. So what inspires us to build features? How do we build them? You'll gain insights into what led to the development of passing on fees. Key features and implementation tips. We'll give a live demo and go over our recommended strategies and approaches so you can boost your bottom line while minimizing that pushback from your clients. And then upcoming features. Lastly, you'll get an exclusive look at the features we have in store for you in the coming months, which will definitely give you a competitive edge in your business. So stay tuned for that. All right, so just a quick note, this feature is only available for Wodify Payments customers. So if you currently don't have access, you can talk to our team after the webinar to learn more. And also it's good to note that the regulations behind passing on processing fees varies in certain jurisdictions. So please check with a financial professional before enabling this if you're unsure at all. But going back to the basics, what does passing on processing fees mean? So historically, payment processing fees have always just kind of been a cost of doing business that you've just had to absorb as an operating expense. So now our feature allows you to pass on those fees associated with credit card or ACH payment processing to your clients. So this can result in direct savings of thousands of dollars per year that you can reinvest into your business. In fact, you'll see examples later in the presentation of recent customers who enabled this feature. All of them are saving more than $15,000 per year. So stay tuned for that. Okay, so now what I want to do is share with you how and why we built the ability to pass on fees. So I'm going to introduce you to Tian, who was our product manager for this feature. So Tian, do you mind sharing with us the evolution of passing on fees and how it came to fruition?
Yeah, sure. A little nervous, but thank you, Liz. And hi, everyone. Before I dive into the feature specifics, let me give you the behind the scenes peek at what our process looks like here at Wodify when designing and creating a new feature. So to start, we review customer support emails, chats, and calls to see what common pain points and challenges customers are having. We also have a feedback form at ideas.wodify.com where we capture ideas that customers submit directly to us. Anytime we build a new feature, we review all of the customer ideas related to that feature there. We also are a big fan of calling customers directly. For this example, I specifically called hundreds of customers for this feature, which I'll share with you in a bit. We love talking to our customers and hearing their perspective. And in addition to hearing customer feedback, we run internal focus groups with our customer success, account management, onboarding, and sales teams to get an idea of what customers are actually talking about and what would prove them most useful. Having a variety of perspectives from everyone is important to us so that we can have a complete view of the problem set. Competitor research is also an important part of this process as well. When competitors have a similar feature, we look for ways to innovate and deliver even more value to our customers. And lastly, great intuitive design informs basically everything we do. There are a number of apps out there that are produced by big tech companies that are the holy grail of UI and UX. We look for these companies for inspiration, as we believe that simple, intuitive, and familiar user experience is great design. So, for example, we might follow Google's lead in designing calendar widgets or Apple's approach in designing simple settings menus. Now, let's go over how we took this approach in designing passing on processing fee. So starting with direct customer feedback. Over the years, we had hundreds of requests for the ability to pass on processing fees, like the examples shown here, saying how it would save money and time, and it would be great to pass on fees versus raising rates. The internal feedback also aligned with what we were hearing from customers. Here's an example from Carla, our account management team lead, who shared this common request from customers looking to reduce expenses. Lastly, we began designing our version of passing on fees. We looked at competitive products and made sure we include common best practices, such as having the option to enable or disable this feature on an individual invoice level, in addition to a global setting. So to summarize, we knew we had to build this feature to, one, help customers become more profitable, and two, allow for customization. So after collecting the feedback, we then brought it to life by conducting further research with customers and designing multiple versions. Let me go over some adjustments and versions we made along the way as we built out this feature. To make sure we were including everything customers were asking for, I personally called over 300 customers. Some of you might be here today. Through these calls, I learned a few key things. One, of the customer I spoke to, everyone agreed that they would see value in the option to pass on processing fees. Even though Wodify's fees already lower than all of our competitors, we knew that this is a highly requested feature. Two, we learned that membership invoices were the most frequent payment types to pass on fees. And finally, we learned that many customers did not want to pass on fees for smaller purchases, such as maybe a bottle of water. Our first version of passing on processing fee was to simply create a toggle at the location level that would apply to all invoices. As you can see here, that while this design is simple, it provided no way to customize a feature based on the needs that we discovered during customer research. So in our next design, which is what you'll see in Wodify today, we added a few new key features. First, we gave you the ability to customize the line item name for the fee to show up on the invoices, which is defaulted currently to administrative fee. Second, we introduced the concept of an invoice threshold so that passing on fees would only be applied to invoices above a certain amount. This accounted for the common requests we heard not to pass on fees for smaller ticket items. Overall, we designed this feature in a way that allowed for more flexibility and choice for your business. And then let's look at another design example. Outside of the general settings, we knew that we needed to give admins an easy way to see where this fee is being applied and how to override it on a case-by-case basis. In our first iteration of the invoice design, you can see that we have an administrative fee line item, and on top of the invoice, there's a checkbox that lets you choose whether to absorb or pass on the fees. However, this kind of violated a design principle that we value, which is to limit the distance between the action and the relevant data. So we knew that we needed a new design that made it more intuitive and explicit to update individual invoices. In our current design, you can see that we added a toggle right before the fee line item, which clearly shows whether the fee is being passed on or absorbed, and allows you to make changes right on the same line. While this might seem like a small change, these are the little decisions that our design team obsesses over in order to create a seamless experience for all of our customers. Now I'm going to hand it off to Brandon to talk about one more design decision.
All right, thanks, Tian. So the last design example I want to talk about is not exactly product design, but it's more about how we decided to price this feature. So a little bit of context first. Every time we invest in building a new feature, we have a few options for how we monetize those features. And particularly for larger features or more expensive ones to maintain, it's critically important that we price them correctly so that we can continue innovating and reinvesting in our platform and continuing to build out the platform for all of our customers. So our most common approach is actually just to include new features and improvements for free for all of our customers. For example, the new client app with Coach View and some of the new features related to performance tracking, we've included all for free when we have done those releases. Another option that sometimes we take is including features only on specific tiers. For example, our payroll reporting feature is only on Promote. And then lastly, on some occasions, we actually charge monthly add-on subscriptions for features. An example of that is our custom branding feature or any of our workout marketplace partner integrations. Those are charged as monthly fees. However, this was a unique case where we saw an opportunity to keep the feature free to our customers and include it on every tier in order to maximize that availability. And in order to do that, we designed the feature in a way that adds 1% for processing fees when they're passed along to clients. And we thought this was a good approach because it allows us to charge a very small amount per client versus charging gym owners one larger amount or limiting it to certain tiers. So that helps cover not only the cost of building that feature, but also the cost to our team to continue to support and improve the functionality over the next few years. So again, not a feature design decision, but I wanted to just explain what went into the thought process there and how the feature works when you pass on fees to your clients. So now I'm going to have Tian walk through a live demo of how to configure passing on fees, including the key features and tips to implement them in your own business. The things he's going to cover are first, how to see the exact amount you can save by turning on this feature. We actually calculate it for each customer based on your historical fees and where to enable that in Wodify Core. We're going to show you the client experience and how we support transparency as it relates to passing on fees. And lastly, we'll go over how this shows up in your financial reporting data and how you can see exactly how much money you're saving. So I'll pass it back to Tian. He's going to share his screen, go through a live demo, and I'm going to use the Zoom annotation features to point out what he's talking through. So yeah, Tian, take it away.
Thank you, Brendan. All right, imagine I own a gym called Stellar Fitness, and I'm ready to toggle this feature on. Let's start off with where you can actually do that. Here I'm at financial settings. As you can see, we calculate the amount of savings you can expect by turning this feature on. This is calculated based on your previous 30 days transaction fees times 12. And here we can see that Stellar Fitness will save $14,000 a year. Next, I want to rename the invoice line item that clients will see from administrative fee to something more specific and simpler. So into something called processing fee. Keep in mind that you can rename this to anything you want for your business. And in order for me to actually pass on the fees, by default, I need to toggle this drop down to pass on fees. This is the main setting that will enable the passing on processing fee by default to all of your invoices going forward. And lastly, I know I don't want to pass on fees for really small retail items like a bottle of water. So I'm going to set the minimum threshold amount to $10. And any invoice under this threshold will not have fees passed on to them. Now that we have the settings saved, let's see where the actual fees are being passed on in action. And here I'm at the familiar membership profile page. Of course, it kicks me out. 1 second, please. Let me just log back in there. Yeah, and here again, I'm at the familiar membership profile page, adding a membership for one of my clients. Every time I create a new membership, by default, the fees will be passed on. And if you want to override the default setting to pass on the fees and absorb the fees instead for a specific membership, this is where you can actually override that setting. So for example, if you have a VIP client who has multiple memberships, been here for years, you could absorb it for them. But however, as best practice, we recommend passing on fees for every membership once you enable this feature. And lastly, I'm going to switch it to absorb for demo purposes. We also support the ability to pass on or absorb fees on a one-off basis from specific invoices. So let's take a look at the invoice we just made for Keri. And you can see that there's a toggle to pass on or absorb the processing fee. Keep in mind that any change you make here will save automatically. Now, from a client's perspective, they will also be able to see a transparent breakdown of the fees throughout Wodify. So here is an example of the same membership session purchased via the online sales portal with fees amount displayed clearly in the contract. Please note that the same breakdown also will show up in for drop-in purchases and point of sale purchases if it shows up, if it's above the threshold amount. Now, you might be wondering what your clients will see once the transaction is complete. Let me show you an actual example here. Here, this is an example of the same membership we just purchased. As you can see, processing fee is added to the list of line items. Now, back to the admin side of things, there are a few locations to see how much money passing on fees benefited your business. So one, in financial transactions. Here, you'll be able to see how much fees you've absorbed or saved by passing it on, broken down by each transaction. And as you can see, Stellar Athletics saved over $1,000 over the past 30 days and about $75 on the 29th of August. Now let's take a look at the payout reports by going into reporting, financial, transactions, and payouts. Here, I can see how much money I've saved throughout the course of the year. It looks like after turning this feature on only 2 months ago, Stellar Athletics already saved almost $3,000. Now that you have seen the key features and how to make the most out of passing on processing fees, I'll pass it on to Keri to go over some tips on how to best implement this feature into your business.
Thanks, Tian. Hi, everyone. My name is Keri, and I'm on the onboarding team here at Wodify. I've also been in the fitness industry for over 15 years, and I talk to business owners all of the time, whether they're seasoned in the game or brand new to opening their doors. So I have an understanding of the position that you're in. So up until this point, you've learned how passing on processing fees works, what it can do for your business's bottom line. So now you're probably wondering about how you can be successful in implementing and minimizing pushback from your clients. The good news is that we've seen hundreds of gyms do this successfully, and I'm going to share implementation tips that we have seen work really well. I'm going to start off with a case study from a Wodify business. We'll also show some pre-built resources and how to access them to help you communicate the change. And then we'll finish off with tips that will help make this change successful for your business. So let's talk about a Wodify business that has been passing on their processing fees since the feature launched. The ability to pass on processing fees, like Tian said, was a highly requested feature. And when it was released, Decatur Strength and Conditioning out of Georgia turned this feature on right away. They saw their business would save over $15,000 per year. Second, I've also seen the other numbers coming through, which are pretty incredible. That number is just pure profit that can be used to reinvest in your business or even pay your staff more. With that being said, I don't think I have to go into too much detail about why Decatur turned the feature on, but more so how, since that may affect the success of passing on fees. Decatur Strength and Conditioning decided to go the direct route of mass emailing their clients and explaining the change and the reasonings behind it. The owner of Decatur, Eric, did an incredible job of communicating this to his client base, and I wanted to share. What you're looking at here is the email Decatur sent to their clients, speaking specifically to that middle section that isn't blurred. They started with how long they've been absorbing the fees, which was over 20 years. Then they went into the potential benefit it could have on clients once turning the feature on, which would be opening the doors to improvements and different resources. And then he finished with a point blank statement of, we will be making this change. After this communication went out, only one person reached out to ask exactly what those percentages would be, and they received no negative pushback, but most importantly, 0 cancellations due to this change. So when we touched base with Eric and asked what advice he would give to other business owners about passing on fees, he simply said, communicate clearly, be confident in your business, your clients will support you. So what can you learn from Eric at Decatur? Number 1, direct communication is best. Opt out of announcing this on social media platforms and instead send a direct message using the mass email or announcement feature. Number 2, explain the why. You understand how it benefits your business, but your clients are going to love to hear how it benefits them. Provide them with data on how this will be a positive change for everyone. And number 3, be clear and straightforward. This is the change, this is why, and be confident you're making the right move. So now let's take a look at some resources you can use to communicate this to your own clients. Our team has put together pre-built email templates to help you communicate this change. Liz will actually drop a direct link in the chat, and she'll also include it in the follow-up email to the webinar, but you can access at any time by going to help.wodify.com and searching for the article about passing on fees. We have 2 different email templates inside that help article that you can simply copy and paste into that mass email feature, make any edits to match your tone, and then send it off to your clients. I wanted to show what they actually looked like, so let's just quickly run through them together. You'll notice on both versions, there are these highlighted fields where we suggest you change the text to match your business's information, such as your business name, date of implementation, etc. This one starts off with thanking the members for being a part of the community, how the business has been absorbing the fees historically, and what the change means for the client. This example gives specifics on not only the date of implementation, but also the actual percentage they see added to their membership fee. The complete transparency provided will help reduce the potential of clients reaching out for questions and clarifications. And here is the second template offered. This format is pretty similar to version 1, but the main difference is this version takes a this or that approach instead. It kicks it off again with appreciation for the members, but after introducing the change, it's explained the business will either pass on the fee or raise the price of membership. This version helps eliminate the potential for pushback from clients by saying either A or B, but both will result in an increased bottom line on your membership. Another difference from version 1 is there's a little less detail, but similarly, it closes out with a thankful note. So far, we've looked at a case of turning on passing on processing fees, supporting documents to help you communicate the change to your members. So now I'm sure you're super excited, you're ready to implement it, but you really want to make this change successful because it can be extremely lucrative for your business. So here's 3 tips. Number 1, timing is everything. Think about when you want to make the change. Some examples of perfect timing would be new year, new rules. This is how we'll function as a business moving forward. Or if you're looking to make a big upgrade to your business, such as a new space, barbells, mats, passing on these fees will help cover the cost of that. And it's a really easy explanation to your clients. Number 2, remember to be strategic. With that being said, like Tian had mentioned earlier, when you turn this on, you have the ability to say, okay, I'll absorb the fees for some lower price items, such as a $1 water bottle or even a $25 drop-in. You have the ability to customize the minimum cost threshold that works for your business and your clients. And number 3 is the biggest one, hold your ground. You've gone back and forth about the pros and cons of this change for your business, and you're making this decision for a reason. Remember, to your clients, this is just a few dollars. To your business, like we saw in the chat, it could mean thousands. There will always be people resistant to change, but in a few months' time, that charge on their bank statement will be the new normal for your existing members and not even a second thought for your new clients. There's a reason they keep coming back to your business. Be confident in the community you've built and the standards you hold, and know that your business is worth it. Back to you, Liz.
Thanks, Keri, and thanks, team, for that walkthrough. So now that we've kind of gone over the functionality and our best practices for passing on fees, I'm also going to give you an exclusive sneak peek at more exciting features coming soon. So let's see some new features that you'll have access to before the end of this year. So first, we have a complete overhaul of our point of sale interface. We've made it much easier and faster to use, maximizing your retail revenue and minimizing the time it takes for a staff member to check out a client purchase. We're also introducing the ability to have a self-service item available for purchase by your clients directly through the Wodify mobile app, such as beverages and maybe other small retail items that are kind of more grab and go. So you can throw out your clipboard and ensure all of your retail sales are being tracked efficiently and effectively. Next, you'll also be able to create stunning emails effortlessly using our new email design editor and email templates. So you'll be able to access a library of pre-built templates along with building your own that you can customize with your logo, brand colors, messaging, things like that. So this will really enable you to create beautiful custom emails that you can reuse with ease. All right, and then the icing on the cake here is our Wodify workflows tool, which you may have heard about before, but this powerful visual workflow builder will be fully embedded directly in Wodify Core, and we plan to launch with pre-built marketing automation workflows that you'll be able to implement immediately. So unlike some of the other solutions on the market right now, our workflow builder is fully integrated with Wodify and gives you access to all of the client data and interactions with your business. You'll also be able to create custom workflows using all the data in Wodify. So for example, creating a trigger for a coach to call a client when they've not been in class for 7 days. And then Wodify workflows will also enable you to connect Wodify with third-party apps and create custom workflows. So for example, maybe when every time a drop-in is purchased, your workflow can trigger a Slack message to be sent to a shared channel you have with other staff members. So the possibilities are really endless here, and we can't wait to see what other ideas you implement. So I hope that you're as excited as we are about all of these new features. You can always keep up to date with what we're working on via roadmap.wodify.com as seen on the slide there. All right, so I'm sure most of you have had experience with our support team on technical issues, but I really want to emphasize that you can contact us for help on anything you need. So whether it's related to passing on fees or not, no matter what tier you're on, you can email our support team 7 days a week at support@wodify.com. Our team is also available for 15-minute one-on-one coaching calls via Zoom if you maybe need to dig into a deeper issue you might be having. So we'll see exactly what you're seeing and find you a solution. Now, if you're a grow or promote customer, we also have live chat available on the website. So this is the quickest way to get a solution. And then lastly, if you're a promote customer, you'll have your very own Wodify account manager to make sure you're always set up for success. So no matter what tier you're on, we're here to serve. We want you to be successful, and our team is equipped to help with any form of support you need in your business. So with all of that being said, before we hop into Q&A, I know we had a lot of questions here. I want to leave you with a few key takeaways. So first, cost savings equals business growth. So passing on processing fees can have a significant impact to your bottom line, as you saw in the chat. So we reviewed where in Wodify you can see exactly how much money you stand to save by enabling this feature. And remember, cost savings don't just mean more money for your business, it also means a better experience for your clients, like Keri mentioned. It's also really important to have an implementation plan. So before toggling it on, knowing that an important piece of passing on fees is the timing and approach of communication and implementation. So just try to make sure that you view this feature from all angles, what it's like for you as an admin, how your clients will receive it, and what you can do to minimize pushback and respond to feedback. Lastly, confidence is key. You are an entrepreneur for a reason. Sometimes you have to make calls that might get pushed back at first, but you ultimately know what's best for your business and your clients. So know that the decisions you're making may be met with resistance, like Keri mentioned, but your clients continuously return to your facility for a reason. So stay confident with your decisions. Alrighty, so now let's hop into Q&A. Let me look through the tab here.
Hey, Liz.
Yeah.
Do you mind? I saw one in the chat from earlier in the beginning. Do you mind if I start with that one, and then I'll let you, as I'm answering it, you can pick through a few?
Yeah, go ahead.
So this one, Mandy Brezina, thanks for the question, asked a good question about, has there been any consideration for the option of passing on fees for smaller charges? So kind of the opposite of that threshold we have right now. I feel like I'm getting hit worse on the smaller charges than the big ones when using the point of sale. So, and then you went on to say you actually have $3 minimum for card purchases. And it's a good question. It actually comes up a ton in conversation. I feel like I've talked to a ton of gym owners who are talking about retail items and the processing fees associated with those. However, one of the reasons we designed our feature the way we did, and some interesting data we pulled recently as we've been redesigning the point of sale, is those fees add up to very little compared to larger purchases. So that the average, even for high retail usage customers, the average retail processing fees are around $10 a month. So our recommendation for that is to actually do one of two things: either continue absorbing them at $10 a month and call it the cost of doing business, or add 25 or 50 cents just to the retail item, because the difference between $1.50 bottle of water, $2 bottle of water probably isn't going to impact the actual demand that much, and you might actually make a little bit of money on it. And the reason we designed that minimum threshold is we don't feel like it's a great experience to have someone buy a $1 bottle of water and have it actually end up being like $1.33 or something, which it would be if you passed on the fees. So I just wanted to, we're actually going to publish a behind the numbers blog post about that to kind of illustrate more of that data I mentioned and talk about that. But yeah, I just want to touch on that one because I saw it in the chat. And then Liz, I'll let you jump into the other questions.
Yeah, that was a good one. Thank you for that. So here's a question we got. If we turn this on, can we turn this back off? Keri, maybe you want to handle this one?
Yes, you can turn it back off once you've turned it on, but we don't suggest doing that. It's just going to cause total confusion for your clients. And it kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. Be confident in the decision that you make, and just know that even with that pushback, you need to stand your ground and be confident that you made the best call for your business.
Okay, great. I know we also just got this question. I think Tori answered it, but I'll just say it out loud. So the question was from Kim. If I plan a month to implement this, do I just turn it on, say September 30th to take effect October 1st? Or when would I turn it on? And do I have to do it to individual memberships, or will it be universally applied? So I think Tori is still typing, but I'll just read what she said so far. Or if you want to unmute, Tori, you can also answer.
Yeah, I can take the
Tori.
Cool.
Well, first off, I read it as the 10th, but you would just want to make sure, Kim, that you turn it on late in the day on the 30th to capture the invoices that process on midnight at the 1st. And as long as you choose for new and existing members, it will be universally applied to take effect on all invoices that process from that point forward.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Tori. Also, just a quick reminder, we do have the raise hand option if you feel comfortable unmuting and talking to us live if you have a question. All right, here's another open one from Kelsey. I want to implement this, but find it hard to find a specific amount to tell members of the percentage that they'll be charged, as when we look into the bank charges, they were different across the board with percentages. Is there a range that we can tell members that they will be charged?
So based on the tier that you are on, the percentage may be different. So if you do want to reach out to any of us, or Liz actually can pass your email on to us, I can communicate with you directly after the webinar, Kelsey, and get you that actual percentage that your clients will end up seeing once you pass it on.
Yeah,
Keri,
Kelsey.
that shows up in people's financial settings too, right? Like it'll say specifically for their account what their clients will pay.
Yes.
Yeah. So and then Kelsey, if you have any questions, still definitely reach out to us so we can just give you the extra bit of confidence in that answer. And then you'll see in the email templates, there's a few spots where you have that yellow highlighted field, so you can write an email that explicitly tells your clients what percent to expect.
Okay, Kathy is saying, I'm not seeing exactly where I can choose to apply to all current and future memberships, or just to future memberships.
Yeah, so when you switch from absorbing to passing on and you go to actually hit save, you'll be prompted and asked that question. Do you want to have it going forward or for all existing memberships? So once you actually hit the save button, that's when you get that prompted question.
Yep. And then Melissa just asked this. She missed a bit of the webinar. Will we receive the recording after this is over? Yep. So you'll receive an email with this recording, and we also post all of our webinars to our YouTube, just the Wodify channel. So you'll be able to access all of them either via YouTube or email, whatever you prefer. All right, Tara, sorry, I don't know which one you prefer. If we hit it for future memberships now, can we do an update of existing members later?
Yes, like earlier mentioned, for this use case or others, you can adjust it either way on the client level. So you have the ability to do that.
And then Jordan has this question: if our state, Arizona, has a maximum fee allowed to pass on, is it possible to customize this for the pass on? So Jordan gave, I think the answer is to sync with a legal financial professional on that, unless anyone knows the answer, but I think if there's state limitations.
Yeah, Jordan, thanks for the question. The specific answer to can you customize the percentage passed on right now is no. We just allow you to pass or absorb the full fee. I would encourage you though to talk to, it seems like these laws are evolving and there's some nuance to them, and some of them are related to specifically to like charging to not having charged for cash payments versus credit cards. And I'm not even gonna like pretend like I know too much what I'm talking about. I would just say talk to a CPA or a local financial professional to make sure that the law you're referencing does apply here, because perhaps it doesn't. But yeah, unfortunately right now there's not a way to customize that fee.
Yeah, but then we got this question in the chat that I'll just read out loud. So Murray asked, how does it work for payments when they fail? Do they get assessed the processing fee each time? Tori, do you mind unmuting really quick?
Yeah, definitely. Hey, Murray, so great question. When a payment fails, the gym owner is going to pay 30 cents for a failed transaction, and you can configure the amount of times that Wodify Payments will try to process the transaction under your financial settings. But right now, that 30-cent fee is going to get paid by the business owner.
Thank you, Tori. And then Andy has a few questions. So you can apply it to all future memberships and turning it on, and the old ones will be auto set to pass on. And can we then set the old ones manually to absorb later on? The answer is yes, I believe.
Yeah, so when you sorry, I'm still trying to read through the question. So when you apply it to future memberships, when you turn it on, you're passing the fee on. So then that means that you're leaving the older ones off, meaning you're absorbing the fees for the older ones. And then, like I mentioned earlier, you can go in later and turn that on at individual client levels.
And then what about chargebacks? Andy's asking.
Tori, can you speak to the chargebacks?
Yeah, so when a customer issues a chargeback, you're definitely still going to be notified within your Wodify account about the chargeback, and you can upload evidence to dispute the chargeback directly within Wodify Core. But ultimately, that's up to like the financial institution to decide if the client wins the chargeback or if the business wins the chargeback. So that process is going to stay the same.
Okay, Andy has a follow-up. If they do win, do they pay the fees?
That is a great question, Andy. I don't know the answer to, but I can take this one offline and do some digging and circle back via email if that works for you.
He says, okay.
Perfect. I'll follow up with you, Andy.
Thanks, Andy. All right. Does anyone else have any other questions? No one wants to be brave and unmute? It's totally fine. I don't see anything else in the chat unless I've missed one. Okay.
I think you got them all.
Awesome. Well, those are all very great questions. And oh wait, did we just get another one? Oh, thank you. This is great. Thank you, Jack. So yeah, those are all great questions. Go ahead.
I'll just add one comment before you wrap up. Appreciate everyone joining, and also I I just want to acknowledge too, like we have Tian, Tori, Sydney, Keri on. Liz kind of manages our customer marketing in these webinars. And we started doing this more recently. We thought it'd be cool to bring on product managers, engineers, folks on our account management team to share their work and be even more transparent about kind of how we operate as a company. And so I just wanted to kind of say thanks to you guys for attendees for coming to our webinar, and thanks to Tian and Keri and Tori and Sydney for, it's not part of your kind of day-to-day responsibilities, but I think it's really cool that you come on and you're just comfortable talking to our customers and showing them these features. So thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you, Brendan. So like I was saying, if we weren't able to get to you or your question, just please reach out to support@wodify.com and our team will get back to you ASAP. But that's all we have today. So like Brendan said, thank you to Brendan, Tian, Keri, Tori, Sydney, for taking the time to join me. And thank you to all of you for, of course, attending and participating. Like I mentioned, we'll be posting a recording of this on YouTube and sending it to you afterwards. So we highly encourage you to use this as a resource for your business in the future. Reach out if you have any questions or any further hesitations about turning it on. But other than that, we look forward to seeing you at our next webinar. So have a great rest of your Wednesday, everybody.
Bye, everyone.